Hello, YouTube. This is the Galley La Podcast, and this week we're going to be reviewing Chapter 1050, title Chapter Honor. This is Akainu Fanboy and your other co-host, Geboss. Please like the video if you can, for that good old algorithm, subscribe, etc. So we are resuming the Vinsmoke story right here. Mm-hmm. And so we saw the flames burst in the books last time, right, with Niji Yonji. But from what I could tell, that wasn't Reiju and Ichiji that did that. It was some other force at work, if I had to get, because Ichiji does like the sparking. It's not a firepower per se. Mm-hmm. So now I know I'm kind of jumping ahead, but I just have this thought where if the books are on fire, actually wait, no. Like I said, yeah, it could go back to that idea with Mondor, like something happened to him, which is why the books erupted, or Putty did something basically. But those were kind of my initial thoughts. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, we had our theories about whether or not, like who set the fire, but it looks like it would be more of an inside job. So I'm more apt to guess that it was Pudding. Because, I mean, it just kind of shows Reiju and Ichiji just kind of breaking into the lab. And the fire was set before they broke in, so...
Yeah. Well, maybe the lava explosion that we see later on in this chapter hit the Big Mom's ship and the pirates, and then as a result, including Mondor, which then lit the book on fire.
I mean, who knows? Who knows what's going on with Big Mom's crew?
They need to be off screen. That's just all I'm saying. But one point though, if Big Mom, we'll talk about this more later. If Big Mom is indeed out, I'm curious if we're gonna see the homies lose their soul during this cover story, basically.
Yeah.
So that's kind of an interesting thought there.
Yeah, that's. I hadn't thought about that. Especially if these are supposed to be coinciding at the same time, which I think most of the cover stories are happening at the same time as the main story.
Yes. So, like, let's say next one they're like walking out, and then they're seeing like the mountains starting to disintegrate and the trees starting to disintegrate, mm-hmm. and like all the souls are starting to go away, basically. Either Big Mom being KO'd or dead, basically. So it would kind of be a cool way to complement what's going on at the same time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just a thought there. I'm enjoying it though. I like Germa. I think they're cool, and I'm excited to see them back in the story. So you want to start off with Toko, or do you want to just get straight to the Big Mom Kaido? Are they in fact out?
I mean, I think we should just go in the order of the chapter, because I have a couple things to say already.
All right, you go first.
So. We start off the chapter, we see Kaido plummeting down the hole that Luffy punched him into. And we see that he's being punched all the way down into like the magma pool underneath the big volcano in Wano. Mm-hmm. And then we see him in there. And we'll have more to talk about that later. But then we see Luffy falling from the sky, and I was kind of disappointed about this, because Luffy, after exiting Gear 5th, looks much better than he did before. And, I mean, the way that we saw him before, he was, like, old and decrepit. And I thought that we would see, like, more of a negative repercussion for him using Gear 5th. Yes. Especially since, like, with Gear 2nd, it was kind of a big deal when it was first introduced. Like, it was shortening his lifespan because of how he was, like, putting the strain on his muscle, circulating the blood and everything. But yeah, hopefully there's going to be a bigger repercussion for that. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, just like Gear 3rd, he was a little kid, obviously. Gear 4th, he couldn't use hockey. And I think with Gear 4th, too, you could really tell there was a huge drawback. Yeah, he looked relatively okay.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I guess it makes sense for Yamato to rescue him, and it's fine, you know. And so what I did find kind of it's interesting, like Doflamingo, like he got hit down into the factory at Dressrosa, and here it's like I guess Oda's like, yeah, it's kind of similar, but he's going even deeper into like the core of the earth now, which is kind of emphasize that a bit too. But I would say that's roughly it. I mean, I think I did enjoy the Toko scene. Honestly, I think she's like one of my. I like her better than all the Scabbards, to be perfectly frank. You know, because I just think she has like a tragic. A tragedy around her and things like that. And Yasue was like the only person that died in this war. I just want to throw that out there.
Named person.
So,
not fodder.
Fodder never die. So I always appreciated that dynamic and that he, voluntarily ate the fruit because she ate it, and that adds like another cool dimension there. It's like a sacrifice that's not as over the top explicit, but still like really heartwarming though,
Yeah, I did like this scene with Tengu and Toko.
Yeah, it was good. I think it's just one of the few parts where I feel like I really emotionally feel connected to Wano. To be honest, I know it's controversial, but I don't know, it's weird. But yeah, so I don't know. We'll see how this continues on here, but I did kind of find it interesting where. Okay, so someone pointed out, I read this comment where weather is usually like a good indicator of what's going on, like what's going to be happening in the story, essentially. And they like there's a lot of ash, like everything kind of like looks dark from the volcano, essentially. And with Toki's prophecy, there was going to be a sun associated with it, like the breaking of the dawn. But it's still kind of nighttime too, right? So that hasn't like happened yet. And I don't jump it around a little bit, but it kind of connects to how Momonosuke didn't want the borders to be open too. And this is kind of where I'm starting to get the feeling of we're in a kind of a false flag sense of victory, in a way. So what are your thoughts?
I mean, I don't think we're out of the woods yet, despite Kaido being defeated, because, I mean, there's, at least two Navy ships coming with Rob Lucci and everyone on it. And I don't know who would be able to do anything against them at this point. Or, like, hold them off.
Yeah, so this is kind of my issue is... So they do show one panel of the ocean around Zunisha, and you don't... Actually, you know what? Yeah, you're right. There are two ships right at the bottom right there. So
yeah.
Zunisha hasn't even... It doesn't seem Zunisha hasn't even destroyed the ships yet. And where is the CP0 agent going? Is he going to the ships?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess, I don't know, things... I guess this whole... It feels too good to be true that Big Mom and Kaido are down. Just the focus of the volcano and them falling that deep and the Udon prison explosion and everything, it felt a little ominous in a way,
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it's just kind of a spectacular way to show that they're defeated, but I don't know, it feels too easy. Like I said, no one's died.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I mean, people are already kind of signaling this as the end of the conflict in Wano, but I think, like you said, I don't think we're out of the woods yet on this, and especially going back to the way that, like you said, like the volcano, the underground volcano erupted, and the sky's black and it's still nighttime and everything. Yeah, I agree with the weather part of it.
Yeah, and even Kaido's army says we still have more people than you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I I was kind of blown away by it. I didn't know that was the case. But what I do kind of find interesting here, you did bring a good point. Like, okay, so let's say the Navy shows up, or let's say Big Mama Kaido to back up. Who's going to stop them?
Yeah.
If that happens. Unless if Luffy has the magical pill from Zoe, the mink pill or something.
Yeah.
Which I think would be trash, as it was trash the first time, too. I think it would be especially trash with Luffy right now.
Yeah.
There's that. I guess you could say Yamato and the rest of the Straw Hats are moderately okay. The Scabbards are more or less all taken down. So I don't know. Denjiro is really powerful though. At the same time, he did face off against Zoro, and he's relatively fresh too. So maybe they could do something, but I think they would. I don't think they could be Kaido and Big Mom in whatever form they'd be, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about that, but let's get through this point really quick. That they have like more guys and everything than the which shows that like even though Kaido's down, like they're not willing to give up as of yet. And there still could be fighting going on in the Skull Dome itself, potentially. But so I guess we'll go on whether or not we truly think that Kaido and Big Mom are down, because there's the panel that shows Kaido. We definitely see the outline of Kaido in the magma.
Right.
And I'm not convinced that the blob next to him is Big Mom. And I think you agree with that as well.
Yeah, because it looks like his code, because Kaido doesn't have the code on, and it kind of looks like his weapon to the right of it. Maybe that might be his weapon. I'm not sure. It just doesn't be, like you said, Big Mom has a kimono, you know?
Yeah.
Even her hair doesn't really have that design. It looks a lot more like Kaido's code.
Yeah, you would think that Oda would draw like a more distinct outline of Big Mom.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then could potentially Big Mom have like kind of gotten hit down into the... She definitely got hit into the ground, but do you think that she fell into the same magma pool? I mean, we do see the drawing that said that both of them kind of lead down into the same area. But I mean, we don't necessarily see that for
yeah. So yeah, and I don't know why she'd be immediately right next to Kaido, like in this panel, because it looks like she could have floated off somewhere, or I don't think Oda would ever do this, but her whole body has been eviscerated at this point. He seems to imply that's happening to Kaido right now, and again, I'm just doubtful about that.
And if that's the case, then this is probably the most like gruesome death in One Piece.
Yeah.
It also brings up a fact that that you would be happy about the lava and magma.
Yeah, it's because Oda did say one time Akainu has the most offensively powerful devil fruit, and that magma seems to be doing damage on some very sturdy people right now. Just saying. So
yeah,
it's an interesting thought. Now, if they were to survive this and come back out, I think it would be their awakenings unlocking, maybe, which would kind of spare them in a way. And I know the whole Kaido had his awakening going because he's his own, and it's just kind of a state. It's not like a special attack or whatever. But then, like, what about Big Mom? Because we never saw her awakening, and she's not his own. You know?
Like, I think we've talked about this before, how we think that Big Mom will have another role in the story after Wano. Because she relates back to Elbaf, and people think that Elbaf's going to be the next place we go to. And we still have her crew running around, so potentially she could she still has a way out. Like, if she was defeated, her crew could come and rescue her.
Right.
So I think potentially it's I think potentially that she has the best chance of survival out of the two, out of Kaido and Big Mom. Because
maybe her crew already got her out, for all we know.
Yeah, that's the thing, because we still don't know what's going on. They're more AWOL than Denjiro. At least we had him back in the past couple chapters. But
yeah, maybe you could see Smoothie using her power to somehow reduce the magma to get her out, because I guess magma is a type of liquid when you think about it.
Yeah, like wring out the magma.
Yeah, I mean, like, it'd be the first useful thing she's ever done in the series. So maybe that's right. She saves Big Mom's life or something like that. And I know they have like that fire guy who's nameless, who's kind of a scrub too. So who knows? Maybe there's a way they could get her out. And yeah, okay. So what are your thoughts? Like, let's just say they're both down. Like, let's just say they're both defeated, or they're both killed, or whatever. Was this a bad ending?
Well, I saw someone comment that people were disappointed by the way Kaido got defeated, because we definitely got the update on it. It says decisive battle in the skies of Wano, Straw Hat Luffy, and where it said like revised outcome. So Luffy definitely has the win over Kaido on this. But if you put into perspective that Kaido's been fighting, I think they broke it down, it was like 71 chapters of like when he actually started fighting. And
carrying an island.
Yeah. And it's been all these different people. It's been the Scabbards, the Roof Piece crew, Yamato, Momonosuke, Luffy, Gear 4, Luffy Gear 5. He's been through a lot.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm kind of fine with him being beaten like this, but I said with Big Mom, I think she has more that she could do in the plot, but I don't necessarily know for Kaido if that would be the case. I don't know if you have anything else to say about that, but
one comment I thought I saw that was interesting. They said the decisive battle in the skies of Wano, and someone's making a distinction. Luffy won in the sky, but he hasn't defeated him
on the earth or the surface.
Yeah. It's so he may like come back out of the sea of magma, or actually that's another interesting thing too. With devil fruits, do you drown in magma because it's a type of liquid?
That's an interesting thing, because we see him at the very beginning of the chapter. It looks like once he hits he goes down to the hole as a dragon, and once he hits the lava, he's back in human form. So that's a possibility too.
Yeah. Which then you could say, if all their devil fruit powers are like... Well, it's kind of hard to say, does Kaido get most of his strength from his devil fruit, or... Same with Big Mom, too. Like, I know Big Mom has the iron balloon thing, but her being KO'd and not having her devil fruits and the souls to give her power, does her body then, like get eviscerated, basically. It's, like I said, Akainu's looking more impressive if maximum magma can be used as a liquid to drown people, like devil fruit users.
Yeah, especially if that's, like, his awakening.
Yes.
Yeah. I
mean, interesting thoughts there.
The same could kind of be said for Aokiji, because, I mean, it's frozen water.
Yeah.
So,
But frozen water doesn't like act in the same way as a thing for drowning, because that's how she walks around though.
Yeah,
and everything.
That's true. But do you have any more thoughts about that?
Now I do agree. Like, it could make sense for Kaido to go down. I think someone made a point like King had a longer flashback than Kaido.
Yeah.
And I do think there's something deficient in that, and I think it does make it seem like we might have more as a result, because seeing Big Mom and Kaido come back as, like, let's say Rock's resurrected in a way, and then it kind of starts a flashback, I think that would be cool. But I do think there's kind of this weird thing is like Luffy's down, and this kind of goes a little bit more into like with Zoro, Kinemon, and Kiku. They look like they're on death's doors too. I've been watching the anime right now, Wano, and it is interesting when the harbor and the armies went to a different harbor, so they didn't get ambushed and everything. Kinemon basically says something to the effect of, "I'm running out of luck, basically. I don't know if I'm gonna live because of, like, I used up all my luck here, basically."
Yeah.
Which makes me more of an indicator that Kinemon the thing he might see last is Momonosuke in a full adult human form as the new Shogun, and then he'll die, basically.
Maybe, because we see like Usopp in this chapter like saying like trying to get to Chopper because both Kiku and Kinemon are in really bad shape.
Yeah.
And the same goes for Frankie bringing Zoro to Chopper. And this really quick, I just want to say, rip ZKK. You never had a chance.
Never. Yeah, unless like they give Zoro another pill, okay, and then he defeats Kaido. Llama.
Yeah.
And then I said this is like in the the bottom 5 arcs of the series if that happens.
Well, then I would think like Oda's being held hostage by Zoro stands.
Yeah, but yeah, ZKK dead, just gone.
Yeah. Obliterated.
Obliterated.
Thanos snapped.
Snap. Right, and so that's pretty interesting. A lot of that there, but I think with Kinemon dying though is he's the one that kind of introduces us to the Wano saga in a way. Because they met him before they met Law. I think that we met his legs and everything. And then, so having him die, I think is fitting in a way too. Because he he helped basically lead to Wano being freed. And then he dies at the end. He kind of like fulfilled his mission, And I think we've had enough emotional attachment with him. Like, he's just been in the show so much this entire time, where I think it would actually hit a little bit.
I mean, I think it's interesting that that Kinemon and Kiku aren't in the final lineup, because we see we get to the end of the chapter and Momo's going to the flower capital, and he says he's not Kaido, and then he transforms back, and we see Hiyori and 7 of the 9 scabbards. The only 2 who are missing are Kiku and Kinemon.
Okay, so Ashura Doji's there too, I guess we could assume.
Oh no, we don't see Ashura Doji. Who's the?
Yeah.
So there's
Nekomamushi and Inarashi.
Yeah, I see those 2 in the back. There's Denjiro. There, it looks like Izo's there. But wasn't Izo fainted as well?
Yeah, because the CP0 agent took him down.
Yeah, Raizo. I forgot his name. The Kappa one. Kawamatsu.
Oh yeah. Kawamatsu. Yeah.
Who's the one on the right hand side?
Yeah, that I can't tell really.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Ashura
that's
Doji's the other one that's missing.
Yeah. So it is interesting. You're right. Yeah, that they're not standing with all the others. Like, they might end up dying, which would be I think it would be good if we need some deaths in this war. It's kind of ridiculous,
Yeah, but I think we kind of glossed over kind of a big thing that Momo's not going to reopen the borders yet. Do you have anything about that? Because I don't know necessarily why he wouldn't, unless he read something in Odin's journal.
Yeah, it kind of makes you think, like, what's Zoe gonna do?
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Gonna be chilling.
Yeah, because isn't Zunisha like, he's like forced to walk the earth?
Well, it kind of, yeah, or either that or Momo broke him free of that with the voice of all things. Perhaps it's kind of hard to tell. One thought I did have just now is if Kaido Big Mom did come back right now, maybe he takes him out in a weakened state, in a way, and then maybe he like gives his life taking them down. But then as a result, they have to find a different way to open the borders now. So there's some thoughts there. Either that or he just wipes out the world, got revenge, and just goes on his merry way.
Yeah, but then that would like, because like Lucci and Kaku and Stussy are all on the ships, so what would happen to them?
Right. Yeah.
And they're too important of characters to do that to.
Exactly. So I don't know, maybe there's kind of more of an ominous side to me, thinking where is Wano really free when he's saying something like that? Where they're not going to really even be free now, but maybe later down in the story, because who knows, maybe they get captured by something else right now.
Maybe.
In a way.
Or maybe now that... Because did Odin's journal mention Joy Boy at all besides the fact that he exists? Because if that's the case, then maybe Momo read something and he knows something about, like, okay, Luffy's Joy Boy, but he doesn't necessarily, like, okay, so, but we need to wait for him to do something until we open the borders to, like, for everything to coincide together.
Yeah, right. True. And I guess, okay, they get free and things get markedly better. They could destroy the factories and everything, but maybe in a way it could kind of correspond with the Grand Line or the Red Line. I know some people theorize it's going to get destroyed and then all the seas will become one, and that's kind of how the All Blue is going to happen. And so maybe like the borders will be opened similarly too. You know.
Well, I was rereading some stuff for I was rereading the Odin flashback, and it seems like Shirahoshi is really important, and she controls the Neptunians, and they're so close to the Red Line. I think that is going to be what's... It seems like the Red Line destruction thing is inevitable.
Yeah. And maybe that could correspond with this too.
Yeah.
Taking down the borders. So if Zunisha isn't the one that takes down the borders, I feel like, well, it would kind of be hard for him to die, then all the Minks would die too. So it's a really...
Yeah.
But then, like, why is Zunisha here to begin with? Right? That's... Unless helps take down Kaido, maybe he dies, and then the Minks end up Livia Wano, maybe. And then they're, like, finally unified, kind of to stop the bigotry, like when Nekomamushi and Inarashi, basically, when he saw them on the beach, essentially, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they're, like, incorporated with one another, since there's been a bond between the Kozukis and the Minks for all this time.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking that because, like I mentioned before, about whether or not Zunisha was like destined or like mandated to roam the earth. Because if that's not the case, then yeah, it doesn't stop him from just kind of resting at Wano at this point, and then the Minks can live there. And that would be a big force for Luffy, kind of like this whole these whole two countries of people. But did you bring up, or I might have read somewhere, that usually in all these things where Luffy like frees a country or whatever, the people see him do it. And no one besides the samurai really saw him do it. Like the normal people didn't see it.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
That's interesting, because Dressrosa, people didn't see it. And I mean, I guess Alabasta, they didn't really see it either. Because I mean, he just defeated Crocodile, and then they were kind of sheltered by Vivi and everyone.
Yeah, well, everyone saw him defeat Lucci. I know that's a little different, but similarly there too.
And same thing with Skypiea. The people saw him take down.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I did read like, what if it's kind of a dark irony where we're convinced that they win, and then it's the fire festival and all this lava starts raining down on the people in a way, you know, which is kind of funny to think about that, you know. And maybe, like, again, there's like another part to this fight essentially too. Because yeah, it is weird the civilians haven't seen it done yet, you know. Like I said, this doesn't feel entirely like a One Piece ender, you know. And I know we've been saying that for every fight, and I don't know, maybe Oda's like, I'm going to rush all these fights, I'm gonna make it seem like this one's rushed, and then I'm gonna like freak him out, because Oda loves his surprises and shocks though.
Yeah, I mean, people are already clamoring for like, yay, Wano's over, we can find out what happened at the Reverie now.
right. Which, you know, may happen, but yeah, I don't know. Those have kind of been my general thoughts, though, I think, for this chapter.
Yeah, I have just one more small point.
Yeah.
Like, everyone is celebrating, it looks like, except for Apu, who's like questioning like what Straw Hat took Kaido down. So, I mean, you had the theory that he was like working for Blackbeard as like a how many agents is it, quadruple or triple or whatever agent.
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting. Because Oda's been keeping him around, like he hasn't kept Hawkins or anything else around.
Yeah.
And maybe this is Apu's the how the stuff gets leaked to like Morgan's, maybe.
Well, we have the Cypher Pull agents to do that, right?
But would the Cypher Pull agents necessarily want to put Luffy, like, give all the credit to Luffy for this, or like?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's because they'd want to fudge the news a little bit. Well,
yeah.
It's kind of, but they didn't cover up like the Rob Lucci stuff, for example. Right? Even though that was purely like a governmental thing.
Yeah.
So maybe, but yeah, I could see that they still want to cover some stuff up and everything too. Yeah. But then at the same time, like Apu has he's like a selfish egomaniac also. Yeah, I don't think he'd like want to give all the greatest credit in the world to him either, you know?
You can tell. Well, I took down Luffy and Zoro.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I took down Luffy and Zoro, and then Kaido was right next. Like, the guy, it's like Morgan's isn't gonna trust someone like Apu, you know, for that kind of stuff. So yeah, those are some good thoughts, though. I feel like a big surprise is gonna happen. That's all.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird to think that like Wano's been and taking down Kaido's been built up since Luffy met Law in Punk Hazard, which was like probably 10 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a whole new saga, and we might be heading toward the end now.
That's true. Yeah, we're definitely going like a freight train right now, and it's surreal to think about. and everything else like that. Actually, shoot. Sorry. One last point. I swear.
Mhm.
Zeus is with Nami,
Yes.
and I just thought like if Big Mom dies, then wouldn't Zeus die too?
I think wasn't it that he got absorbed into the Climateact or something? But I mean,
They're
that's
still being animated by Big Mom, homie though.
yeah, that's true. So, yeah, that could be an indication. But I mean, we see Nami in this. Oh, we do see Zeus in this chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
So
right next to Marco.
Yeah, Big Mom's probably still kicking then.
Yeah. Damn, that's too bad. All right. Well, anyway, so those are our thoughts. It may be a little bit long today, but I thought definitely a lot going on
It's
there.
an important chapter.
Yeah. So let's just hope the Mink BS pill does not come next chapter. Okay. Let's just hope ZKK is dead. And Akainu
Ripping
is top
pepperonis.
one. Akainu top one. All right, cool. But anyways, just throw a like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys soon. Have a good one. Peace.
See ya.